By the mid-1800s, a labyrinth of railroads connected the Paulins Kill Valley to the industrial explosion of the post-Civil War era. Pennsylvania coal powered the colossus that became industrial New Jersey. Just east of the valley in the New Jersey highlands, the railroad serviced the mining frontier of over 300 iron and zinc mines. This boom would collapse by 1900 with the discovery of cheaper ore from eastern Minnesota. The Haynesburg Viaduct, built by the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western Railroad in 1911, was a pioneering engineering feat that replaced an older route with a straighter and flatter route through the mountains of northwestern New Jersey. Keeping pace, dairy farms became more numerous with bigger herds of mostly Friesian Holstein cows. By the 1900s, Sussex and Warren counties boasted the greatest population of cows in the state. The dairy industry had an unquenchable thirst for labor, since no effective milking machines would appear until the early 1900s. An average person could milk 4 cows per hour, and as herds grew in size, there was always a shortage of labor. At the headwaters of the Paulins Kill, the town of Newton added textile mills and a shoe factory, as other sleepy farm hamlets began adding manufacturing. In 1839, the richest railroad tycoon of the day, John Inslee Blair, added his name to the village previously named Gravel Hill. In 1848, he founded Blair Academy, which flourishes today, adjacent to the restored downtown historic district. The crossroads of 3 separate railroads ensured Blairstown thrived as a commercial and cultural center. Blair's 1925 grist mill would continue to anchor the village to its farming past. Blairstown survived the disappearance of all the railroads by the 1960s as interstate and state highways grew to dominate transportation. The railroads also brought an unexpected industry to the later 1800s. Tourists, escaping the oppressive heat and unsanitary conditions of urban centers, the clean waters and fresh air of the countryside were an important lure that propelled the tourist industry. Sport hunting and fishing added to the diversification of the visitors, and many became permanent residents. Eventually, the nickname Lakeland would define the northern part of New Jersey, including the Paulins Kill Watershed. Every wetland depression and shallow marsh that could be was dammed, creating summer lake communities complete with cabins and cottages. The larger existing lakes had their water levels raised. Lake Mohawk, Culver Lake, Lake Owasso, and Swartzwood Lake would grow to rival Lake Hopatcong as the best waterfront living in New Jersey. The Paulins Kill River itself was blessed with 3 lakes created by dams: Paulins Kill Lake, Lake Columbia, and Lake Paulina. Only one dam creating Paulins Kill Lake survives to this day. More of their story later. Many grand hotels sprung up within the Paulins Kill watershed. The best known was the Lake House on Swartzwood Lake. This hotel passed through many hands, only to become a hotel for indigents prior to being demolished in 2003. Others met different fates. The Dove Island Inn burned down. Swartzwood Lodge became a private residence. Only the North Shore House continues to serve food, drink, and lodging today. Swartzwood Lake would become New Jersey's first state park in 1915, after a complicated legal debate as to who should have the right to use and enjoy its water resources. For years, this park would be the gem of the New Jersey park system. On a typical Sunday afternoon in the 1960s, dozens of busloads of visitors would descend on the park to picnic, fish, and swim. The line to rent one of the 40 rowboats would be dozens deep, the newly installed campsite full. These crowds of visitors of the 50s and the 60s would diminish over time. The automobile and highway improvements would curtail this boom as eastern Pennsylvania and upstate New York became more attractive destinations for day and weekend visitors. Creation of Swartzwood Park would establish the right of the state to acquire public land adjacent to and covered by a body of water, and acquire it they did. By gifts and outright purchases, public parks, forests, beaches, wildlife management areas, and historical sites would become preserved for future generations. The Paulins Kill Watershed itself has over 22,000 acres of preserved publicly owned land, 77 miles of managed fishing streams, 7 public fishing lakes, and over 60 miles of hiking and biking trails. Nearby privately owned recreational facilities, golf courses, ski areas, municipal parks, in addition to hundreds of managed farmlands and forests, continues to slow massive development pressure. Buttressed on the west by the Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area and on the east by the mostly protected New Jersey highlands, the Paulins Kill Valley has again become an outdoor recreation destination. Is this the starting point for preservation of our outdoor environment, or just the high watermark of green space acquisition? Will interest wane and allow development to swamp whatever is left to preserve? Do we plan for little green islands in a sea of houses and factories, or a working environment that continues to deliver a unique lifestyle to the valley's inhabitants? The choices to be made are urgent. Uninformed complacency is a recipe for our watershed to follow the rest of New Jersey in what has been called, in print, God's own junkyard.